So Candace Owens attacked Ariana Grande for being a homewrecker, but she did it in the most hilarious way. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
She was
she
calling
called it
it,
the whole apocalypse.
yeah, and Ariana's the leader of the whole
Yeah.
apocalypse. Joe Budden spoke about it, and he was like, "Yo, I want to invite Candace Owens to the pod if she listens. Don't think you listening, but if you listening." And then Candace Owens again goes, "I was listening, Joe. I love doing. I've never get invited to black platforms. I would love to be you to be my first black platform." So they took a picture. The episode's not out, but the picture is. Man, Rosenberg commented or retweeted the picture with a face palm and some disapproval, and he said something about how like he doesn't see how having discourse with these type of people is worth it or anything. And then Candace Owens fired back. She was like, "Who are you to talk? What white man is this to get in the middle of black folks speaking, white man?" And she was like, "And your daddy worked in Capitol Hill, pushing political agendas to keep the black people separated. Little white man with the bald head." He shouldn't say all that, but she was saying that.
Did she really say white man?
She did say that. She said he's white,
Basically.
so who is he to get in the middle? The tweet is probably here if you keep going.
Drip report here, people. What kind of
Joe
coke
Budden
is Joe
is out of
Budden?
control. This the same man. This the same man that wore two jerseys in the 2000s at the same time. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. Well, man, I don't even know. I feel like he's wearing a book. Like that's what it looks like to me. He looks like he's wearing a book, or like he stepped out of a Hamilton set.
You know what Joe Budden looked like? Joe Budden looked like Joe Budden looked like AI when it first came out.
It's Alexander Hamilton.
I'm not throwing away my shot.
So here's what he wrote, right? He said, "So sick of the idea that conversations need to be had with bigots, trolls, and immoral a-holes. Exchanging ideas among small." I could read, guys. This is really small. Among smart, good people
There you go.
is useful. Hearing a hateful hack babble on about hate is not worth anyone's time. So he's talking about Candace.
So what you guys think?
Look, I haven't give Candace much time of the day. I just haven't felt the need to. And a lot of it does feel like a Tucker Carlson type of setup and all that stuff. Like, you know, it feels scripted to me, you know, in a lot of ways. So I haven't followed much of her stuff. I haven't heard much of her negativity or her hate or anything like that. But
well, I'll remind you, she kind of she was talking crazy about Breonna Taylor and George Floyd.
And George Floyd. Did she come out with a documentary or something about the whole George Floyd thing?
Yeah, a little distasteful stuff.
Like, you know, some discussing things, you know. And I just wonder, like, what type of like cognitive dissonance that needs to be at play here for you to put on this act. You know what I mean? Live out this form of yourself and believe this to be truth. You know, that's kind of wild to me. At the same time, her and Joe talking, you know, I mean, she did make some comments about what they talked about on the pod, which I think can be problematic because apparently they already recorded the episode. It sounds problematic already because there's a lot of agreement going on from what she says. So we'll see how that plays out. Peter Rosenberg getting in on it. I mean, you know, when I heard him talk about it, I mean, he made great points. And it seems like as he started explaining like his own, because she got his father, like she's talking about his father, him. She called him a plantation supervisor, all of that. So just really pulling out the tropes of racism there when she's always the one who's, you know, it's just weird. She's like, "Why are you white man stepping into black people conversation?" Like you said, Canelo. And it's like, it seems like a weird place of.
It is weird for her because
you don't fit here. Yeah,
it's weird for her because she's always like glazing white people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like white lives matter, baby. All right, so
you are one picky choosy shorty, like
yeah. But now you on the other side. Two black people got here and had a conversation. White man, plantation.
Unfortunately, though,
step away.
Unfortunately, though, a broken clock is right 2 times a day.
Yeah, of course.
I think there's validity to her point. It's a Rosenberg. This don't really got nothing to do with you. I actually I'm happy. I'm happy that as specifically blacks in America. This is specifically for blacks in America. You could include some Latinos that grew up black with black people, but not all, because you got those Latinos that grew up with black people and they secretly racist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really happy we in a place where black people can have conversations. Like I want to go. Candace Owens isn't that person, by the way, and Joe Buddens isn't that person. But it is good that two people on opposite sides come together, because I'm really getting tired of both sides like rooting for what they believe in and ignoring
The other
the
side. Yeah.
faults of their own and the
You're right.
points that the other side has. So
You're
they could
right.
point out their strengths, but can't point out their weaknesses, and they could point out the enemy's weaknesses, but can't point out their strengths. And I think we're getting to a point where Black Americans are finally able to have these conversations together, where it's like, okay, both parties ain't really addressing what we need. Let's
Right.
get together and have discussion. And
Yeah.
I
Let's
think
stop this two-party us versus them
and
type
I
of
think
thing.
anyone should be allowed at that table.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a platform, a voice, and influence should be able to speak at that table. And nobody non-black should be able to go, nah, how can you give a black person a platform on a black platform? You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
Especially
but
not Rosenberg.
I guess so. After this, I'll shut up because I know to give Martin a chance. But I agree, but and I've never been like I'm not a Rosenberg like groupie or anything like that. I'm not the biggest fan and stuff like that. But um, I think his reasoning, his justification of it was both right and wrong, you know, because there is this aspect of like someone who's perpetuated this much hatred, someone who's perpetuated this much negativity towards her own people. You know what I mean? Um, Now, yeah, is it the place of a white man to say something like that? But I guess from what he said, it was like, you're spreading hate and I'm not for you because you spread hate. Like it's that type of thing. And I think that's a stance no matter the color that should be taken. But the thing is that should someone like that deserve a seat at any table, you know what I mean? I don't know. I guess but I am in agreement with you because there's issues on both sides in this country, and it's very unique to our country, and we don't want to hear anything from that side. We deem it a certain word and a certain category, and if it's in that certain category, it doesn't matter what you say or whatever, you're pushed into that category. You know what I mean? And I hate that we see things in like that, and we operate like in this country. A lot of us operate like drones, where everything we do is in coordination with your party affiliation, type of thing. It's ridiculous. It's like we're supposed to be free thinkers, but we're not really, at all. So I agree with you. Like we need to have more situations like this, but at the same time, it's like, man, she's perpetuated a lot of hate and negativity to her own people, especially. Anyway.
But yeah, when it comes down to Candace Owens, I don't agree with her. Never have, and I won't say never will. But as far as anybody that needs to be invited on this table or whatever discussion that we're talking about, Candace Owens will probably be one of the last people on my list. There's a couple of people that I would like to see other than Candace Owens be that person. Joe Budden, I don't know where he's at on the spectrum of liberal or conservative or whatever or centralist. I don't know where he's at. But he's the last person I would want on that table either. I feel like this conversation, I don't know. I haven't seen it personally. I haven't seen the episode because it hasn't come out yet. What I think is going to be pointless drivel, and it's just going to be for clicks and views and likes. Candace Owens needs black supporters. Uh, Trump put out a gold sneaker to wow black voters and Spanish voters. Candace Owens probably trying to do this formulation of the same thing to get black viewers. That's probably what's going on, in my opinion. Peter Rosenberg, I don't know where you came from, bro. Take a seat, take several seats. Because no one was talking to you, bro. No one was talking about you. No one asks you to come to the aid of Black people. You may feel like you want to do that. Fine, that's cool. But just so you know, no one really cares. As a matter of fact, I feel like out of all the topics, this is not even the biggest topic that we got. Like, like no one is really checking for Joe Budden and Candace Owens and having a conversation. I don't think it's gonna be that crazy. So Rosenberg, not a time to play your ally card, I guess. I don't like Black conservatives.
I will say
Really
this. I will say, just to push back a little bit on Martin's point, is that might not be the two people you want to be at the table, but Joe Budden has one of the most important platforms in hip hop culture. That might not be the two platforms you want to see, the two people you want to see in the center of the platform, but Joe Budden does have one of the biggest podcasts in hip hop media and in Black culture right now, and Candace Owens doesn't, and she needs that, so she's gonna be there. And this is
then I think you would agree with me.
no, you. I think you kind of no. You saying you don't want them, but this is who has to be there. It's either she go to Joe Budden or she go
I
to.
said that Candace Owens doesn't have that, so she's just like how Trump put out the gold sneakers.
No, you
She's
said
trying to find the
right.
golden
I don't.
goose through Joe Budden.
That's not the part I was
Black
listening to.
viewers.
That's not the part I was pushing back on. I was pushing back on you saying that you didn't want these two people at the table. So I'm saying this is the table. There's who else would be the Black platform to go to? Not going to the Breakfast Club because they don't have the relevancy that they did. You're not going to Kai Cenat. Although, actually,
I mean,
I would watch that.
Yeah.
That would. Candace Owens and Kai Cenat. But it'll be even more pointless than her talking to Joe Budden because he's not on that type of time.
But to end off this whole thing, just not. I don't know if I'm pushing back at Kano, but I'm just responding to what Kano's saying.
Right.
I feel you. I see where you're coming from. Me personally, I still would. I don't care less. I wouldn't care less about what Joe Budden has to say about. I love the podcast. It's not what I would. I would not look to Joe Budden to talk to Candace Owens about my issues for the community and how you need to join in on that. I don't see how that conversation is going to pan out. It could be a disaster just as well. It could be a success, but I didn't see it. I'm not trying to judge it right now.